Hey, what's going on, everybody out there in the virtual land? You are right back here. It must be Thursday afternoon if you're looking at me live. Hurdlers of Adversity, inspires and maximizes of pivotal moments. That's the show that you're on right now. But you know what? We're going to try to change that language just a little bit because I was on and at dinner with my next guest, and he just blew my mind. So I had to shift again because we're all about shifting where we're going to show up. So everybody just welcome to this. So listen to this. Everybody welcome to Hurdlers of Adversity, conversation with change mindset warriors. Oh, I love that. Change mindset warriors. I'm your host, John Register, and I'm an international keynote speaker, a change mindset warrior, and I work with successful business leaders to help them hurdle adversity, amputate fear, embrace a new normal mindset to win the medals that are in their life. So why and what is mindset and what is mindset? As I was thinking about this, and I was, I kind of gifted this language over the course of dinner, I was thinking that mindset is like, hey, what's going on? I know, right, Lynn? Holy cow. I love it. Yes, I love it. So I put that there too. Because I definitely wanted your opinion on it. But holy cow, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about it. And mindset is it's a destination. Remember, I always say in the new normal, what we're doing, it's not, the new normal is not a destination. It's only a plateau by which we grow. So mindset is actually looking forward into the future. Not that we know what the future is going to look like, but our mindset is there, not at our mindset at the plateau of where we are. So that's how I was looking at it. I know there's some other companies and places out there that are looking inward to the mindset of how the mind actually works, but I'm looking outward to seeing where we can actually take this. And I think that's how we evolve. That's how we grow. We're always listening for those things. And that's what you're going to get on this show. You're always going to get a new nuance of a things that people have been saying that they've been using and said, we have to have a new normal mindset. I've been saying that all this past year. Yeah, because we got to set our mind, but then we have to have a sight for it. We have to move out. We got to shift into the future. The Citius, Altius, Fortius, the swifter, higher, stronger of the Olympic model. The Olympics coming up this summer, the Paralympics right on its tail, that we have this ER stem ending, that we are not in our superlative, the EST. It's not swiftest, highest, or strongest, but it's swifter. So we can be the swiftest today, be swifter tomorrow. That is mindset. We can jump higher, the highest today, but higher tomorrow. Higher is mindset. So that's what we're talking about when we say that. So I hope you like that, because I'm just doping off it right now. It's just so good. And I'm just trying to figure out. And guess what? I went out and bought all the websites to it. So you can't get it because I own them. I think so. Thanks, Lynn, for doing that. Let's put this out to everybody because we have a great guest going to be on today. This is the show where you get up close and personal with individuals that I just find fascinating, right? We all need to be around individuals that elevate us, that lift us, that lift our spirit and just push us to a new level that's in our lives. We have dynamic conversations. We have dynamic dialogues of these pivotal moments that people have been through in their lives, and they're so willing to come back and teach it to us. They're so willing to give it to us. So visit my website, johnregister.com, to get all my social media handles, because we want to push this out there. It's been blowing up as of late. I don't know if you've seen all the stuff that's going on LinkedIn. We're also pushing it to some other channels, but the team is just off the rails crazy right now. I brought on a PR person. I actually stole her because she didn't want to come work, and she did. And I said, I'm not going to let you say no. And she has just been pushing. And then so she's been doing fantastic. And then we have another one that's been doing all the social media stuff, and she's been rocking it too. So all that stuff you're seeing out there, I always celebrate the team. It's not me. They have my voice, and they go out, and I kind of just go behind them and just applaud them, applaud the effort. They are fantastic. And so get good people on your team is what you should be doing. So last week we had some great guests on, and this week is no different. We have a fantastic person on. But first, where are you watching from? Where are you, and what platform are you on? Are you on LinkedIn? Are you on YouTube? Are you on Facebook? Where are you watching from? I want to know where it is where you are watching from. And oh yeah, I just did my first radio show. The DJ I was on KPPF. That was fun. We have a local show here It's going into Southern Colorado Springs, but it's a podcast as well. So we'll be putting that podcast up on the webpage so you can actually listen into some of the guests we have to maybe get some ideas in your neighborhood. So I think that's going to be fantastic. So we had some great times listening to folks, and I am really excited about this. So listen out. If you don't know me and you're just on right now, Patrice Ravenscroft is on. What's up, people in the house? Party people, throw your hands up. When I was talking about amazing people, of people that just shot me off of an aircraft carrier, that's who I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Patrice. So there you go. Lynn's coming in from Charlotte. All right. What's the weather like in Charlotte? And you look like you're on LinkedIn anyway. So I see that as well. So thank you both for coming in, and we'll have, I'm sure we'll have more as we go on. So just for those that are coming in, might be watching a little bit later, who am I? Well, at 5:29 in the afternoon on May 17th, 1994, coming up on Monday, actually the anniversary, I was one of the world's fastest hurdlers. At 5:30, I misstepped the hurdle, dislocated my knee, severed an artery behind the kneecap, and 7 days later became an amputee. My wife was the one that, Alice, gave me this new normal mindset, which I turned into a new normal mindsight. And she said, let's go. We're in this together. And a lot of times we see in our world, people, when they take their vows and stuff, they want the for better, but not the for worse. They want the health, but not the sickness. And, we don't know what we're going to get into until we get into it. And that was, what Alice undergirded me. And I always will honor and celebrate her because she's just been fantastic. And now we are in our next season of life. But with that mindset, I began to retool. I began to get up and swim for physical therapy and wound up making the Paralympic swim team. So I went from a 400-meter hurdler to a swimmer. And then I saw athletes running and jumping on the track. I had a leg made for running, and 4 years later won the silver medal in Sydney, Australia, and became one of 2 athletes to jump over just shy of 18 feet without a leg or a knee at that time. So American record still has, because they changed the classification, the category. So I will always be the American record holder in that event. So thank you for changing the rules, International Paralympic Committee, so I can always be an American record holder. So from there, you think you win the medals in your life, but what do you do after? You go back and you do your best to help somebody else in their journey. You become a mentor. You become a sage. You become the person that people will follow. And that's how my next guest has shown up on this show, because he does that for so many individuals. And we're going to get ready to talk with them right now. But if anybody else is on, please make yourself known, so I know if you're out there on any other channels that we have going out. We got Facebook, we got YouTube channels happening. And so I want to know that you're out there. So each guest has done similarly in their lives and in their platform. So we're going to get ready right now to meet our guest that's coming up. And so thank you once again for watching. And let's get into this right now. So my next guest, he serves as the Vice President of Operations for the Boys and Girls Club of the Pikes Peak region, and has been with the youth development movement for over a decade, influencing young youth to reach their full potential. He is a transformation leader, youth advocate, growth mindset leader, and we're going to change that to mindsight for sure. Maurice, I gave his name away, is a former collegiate athlete at Colorado State Championships in track and field. All right, got a bow for track and field. His athletic career, resilience, and commitment to integrity, challenging the process and allowing others to aspire for shared aspiration, has created a leadership role to inspire youth and leaders to make their journey their own achievements in life, their goals, to have the most fullest lives possible. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Maurice. I got to do it the right way. Please welcome the man with the master plan for others to discover themselves, the Pied Piper of youth performance, the man of thirst for first, for the amazing youth of Colorado, shooting guard number 33 in college, number 33 in college, and number 10 in high school, Mr. Maurice Henson.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks. Welcome to the show.
Definitely appreciate it. Pleasure to be here. Honor.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to chat with you. And so as I was blowing up a person called Patrice, she's actually Your
My twin
sister.
sister. Yeah.
Twin sister.
Yeah.
And she's on right now. So love that one to life right there. Rich Biddles is on. Thanks for Rich for being on, Rich. And we got Patrice, of course, and the twin out there. So listen, kind of jumping this real fast, Maurice, we're talking about boys and girls clubs, kind of just give us an overview for those that may not know and just kind of on the peripherals have heard about the organization, but really don't know what it's there for.
Definitely. Boys and girls clubs of the Pikes Peak region, we are geared to instrumentally support our young people and push them forward academically, character-wise, and citizenship-wise.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure that our members are adopting healthy lifestyles. We want to make sure that they know about entrepreneurship, know about philanthropic efforts, know about giving back to their community in and around their club. We want to make sure that they're academically fit. So whatever they go on to do, whether it's a post-secondary education, 4-year college, certificate program, associates, we want to make sure that they are the best prepared they can be to pursue those endeavors. Could be a career in the military. We want to make sure that by the time you age out of the Boys and Girls Club as a youth, you are an eclectic, well-rounded individual geared for success.
So when you say age out, so there must be a cap on the age. Is there like programs to continue them on, or is it once you're done, you just come back maybe as a volunteer or something? What's the kind of that process afterward, or is there?
Yeah. So we serve members 6 to 18 years old, and so once you hit 18. You are, required to take a year off from the club, but you can come back in a volunteer capacity. You can come back in a staff capacity. I don't know how many young people in the past 10 years that I've been doing this work have ended up coming back in one form or the other, as a volunteer, as a staffer, a program lead. I mean, it's just, I say once you drink that blue Kool-Aid, so to speak, you're just you're in it for life. So
you got the blue pill. Go down the rabbit hole. So what caused you to really become involved with the club of the Pikes Peak region?
My journey in the Boys and Girls Club was one I feel like I've always been connected to it. The older I get, I can, kind of look back, hindsight, foresight, and see that, I was always kind of in that lane for youth development. I come from a lineage, my dad was a coach for 30 plus years, in District 11 out here in Colorado Springs, being born and raised out here. I've always been connected in some form or fashion to coaching, to mentoring, to giving back to youth in the community.
Sure.
I am a product of our Boys and Girls Club, our EA Tuck Club. And so being an alumni of the Boys and Girls Club, having, a well-rounded experience in the community centers and around here, the youth serving organizations here, I've always been connected to it. So I graduate college, fast forward, and my twin sister Patrice is working for the Boys and Girls Clubs in Pueblo County, and she says, "Hey, I want you to come down and visit a club." And I've made that trip down there. And so, I got off work. I was working in retail sales, and I get down to this club, and I'm able to connect with this young man named Richard. And we were in the gym, shooting hoops. And he said, "Hey, can I show you something?" And he took me outside. And he lived literally right across the street from the club. And he showed me these basketball courts that were out there. And he said, "I love basketball. I want to go as far as I can with basketball." And he said, "But I have to be careful out here." And it was this big asphalt blacktop basketball court. And it had these about 4 to 6 inch gashes all throughout the court. It hadn't been redone in years. And he said, I have to be careful out here when I play. I don't like it. But I love playing basketball. So I come out here every day still. And when I saw that, I was just like, wow, I didn't feel any kid needed to undergo those circumstances or have to play basketball, a sport they're passionate about, under those circumstances. And so I can remember running back in the club, tracking down my sister in her office and saying, "Hey, are there any job openings down here?" And, I came in the movement as a team coordinator and never looked back. And,
Wow.
I've been very blessed and privileged to be able to, take it to a vice president of operations.
So you say you have this one kid, Richard, kind of changed your life to bring you into the club. Were
Right.
there any stories as you were going through the club that made some significant connections? What are some of those power stories for you that really solidified, yeah, this is the place I need to be?
I think it was the experiences, right? Going to my first Air Force basketball game was through Boys and Girls Club. in partnership with the local community centers around here. And so I think one story stands out to me. I had this mentor. His name was Andreas Hutchison. Everybody used to call him Scooby. And he was just an amazing athlete. I can remember going to his high school basketball games and I was like, 10 or 11 and watching him play. And then to see him walk through the door as a staff member at, the community center we were playing basketball at. And then I was playing for that community center. And there was a time where, I was the run of the litter, supposedly. And I was the smallest thing in my family. My mom was 5'6", but I was like 5'4" for the longest. And I didn't hit a growth spurt till I got into high school. But we were playing over at one of the community centers. We were practicing. And I just remember I was having a hard go of it. And I was just like, you know what, I'm done playing basketball. I don't want to do this anymore. It's just not fun. I'm not finding any passion about it. I'm just getting pushed around. And, I just didn't want anything to do with it. And I can remember Andreas Hutchison pulling me to the side and he said, you're not always going to be the smallest. He said, you're not always going to be, the weakest, so to speak. He said, but what work are you doing now to where when those, scales tip, what work are you doing now to be able to utilize that and to benefit from it? And it stuck with me. And he's all like, I used to be a string bean. I used to be small. And he's all like, but I did the work. And so, that was that aha moment for me, like, hey, you have to put in the work. Yeah. And so I try and carry that with me. I often think about it, and remember it today.
That's fantastic. And I just picked up on that. So when you see me looking off screen, I was putting some things in the chat box there. And that's to the audience out there, that whether you're watching right now or coming in later on, who's been your mentor? Who's the person that really helped you? And if you're liking this conversation with Maurice Henson, please shout him out. Put him out on LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching from. Find him and follow him, and then shout him out and bring your other folks into the conversation, because we really do want to have a conversation and dialogue about this. If you have a question for Maurice about clubs that might be off in your area and what you might be able to get involved with, please put them in the chat box so we can shout them out as well. So thank you all for being in. We got some folks on. Man, I'm excited. We got Lynn and Patrice and Richard. So I'm so thankful. It's always kind of interesting because after the show's over, I find out there's been more that have been kind of sleeping and hiding in the back wings of it. So make yourselves known, people. Make yourselves known. I want to know who you are out there. So I want to switch gears just a little bit here and talk about leadership qualities. You're instilling leadership qualities in these youth. What's kind of your philosophy around leadership? How did you get them? Who kind of gave them to you?
I feel like I've been very privileged in my lifetime, working with Boys and Girls Clubs, coming up through Boys and Girls Clubs, coming up through the community center, and having just great mentors in my life. Right. I think just, one mentor I just want to shout out is Melanie Bravo. She was she was the executive director when I was down at the clubs in Pueblo. And she just always had that and then what kind of mentality and those principles. She first introduced me to like leadership, right? I can remember having this conversation with her. She's like, so Maurice, you want to be a leader of not only youth, but a leader of like your peers, right? And I was like, yeah, sure. And she's all, but what is leadership? And I was like, leadership is being out at the forefront. Leadership is, this esoteric rainbow. It's always 75 degrees and it never rains, right? And she said, wow. And she told me the definition of leadership. And she said, leadership is the art of mobilizing others to want to struggle for a shared aspiration. When I heard that, I was like, I had to let it register and digest it. And then when I got into leadership and was able to have those moments where it was like, hey, certain days I have to come in and encourage the heart of our members, because that's important, and recognize the great work that they're doing in their communities, at school, at the club. Same thing with the staffers that, I'm privileged to, supervise and work with and run alongside with. So I guess the expectation for me and the leadership qualities that I want to instill in our young people moving forward is the fact that, it takes work, it takes dedication, and it takes a patience to really embrace that process of what, ascending into leadership is, right?
Absolutely. I want to have you say it again, but there's some comments that have just come in. I want to make sure I get out there too. So Jackie Moses, what's going on? How you doing down there in Austin, Texas, Ladyburg Lake out there? Thank you for jumping on. I think Jackie Moses, we went to class together at at Oklahoma, the entrepreneurship class. I won the award. It's just right there. Jackie Moses in the house. And then Patrice has something that she said right too, as I wanted to make sure I shout her out as well. And so mentors are so vital. Leslie Barthlow was my first mentor. Her words of action will never leave me. Melanie Bravo is another amazing transformation leader. Absolutely. And Maurice just shouted her out as well. So as we're thinking about this, you take these, the definition, and I want you to say it one more time for people, because I think, a lot of folks around the table, when you said the definition the other day, they're like, oh yeah, that's right. It's how we are, impacting others to do work, on our behalf, really, and inspiring them to do so. So say that one more time. I want to get into another question that you
definitely. So, the art of leadership is really the art of mobilizing others to want to struggle for a shared aspiration.
Yeah. So I think that's fantastic. So when you talk about your, and Jackie Moses says, yes, correct, 100%. Jackie knows what she's talking about. So, when you talk about going into like this leadership and this different, going down into the growth mindset, right? So how we're talking about growth mindset. Talk about that and how you've been able to, maybe kind of marry all the things that you've done in your life, whether it's sports, you're talking about you went off to college, but then you had another thing that you wanted to do that shifted you to a different college. Right. And talk about that journey and how leadership really kind of wove its way through your decision process.
Yeah, definitely. Coming out of high school, I think a lot of 18, 19-year-old kids coming out of high school, playing sports and, being fairly talented and, having an ability to do stuff. I think that you're kind of fooled in a sense, for lack of a better word, in like, hey, how hard you really work. You play a 15 to 25 game season, right? At any given point in time. And then you go off to like a college or junior college. I think every step of the way I've had a coach that was just transformational, right? It was bigger than the X's and O's of basketball. It was bigger than the technique of the triple jump, the high jump, your form in sprinting, right? And it was just life lessons that you didn't necessarily know you were getting, but you were getting. In junior college, I had a coach that just showed me how I was like not applying myself consistently, right? And I think that is something I carry with me into the work I do today. Is it can't be spurts, right? We want to be consistent in our effort, and so you want to make that ascent, but you want to be consistent about the ascent. You don't want your ascent to look like as far as effort, and so. I've always been just falling in the right place at the right time. And, I thought I was going to have a professional sports career in track. But, the week before I was getting ready to try and qualify for the world championships that were in Japan that year, I hurt my leg. And trainers can't figure out a thing that's wrong with my leg. Mm-hmm. And I just know I couldn't triple jump the same way. I couldn't high jump the same way. And so it kind of veering off. But, then it was like, I was hurt that year, and we still were doing a lot of mentorship with younger track athletes that would come out from the local high schools, the elementary schools. We still were doing a lot of basketball clinics at that point. And so I've always been kind of pushed towards that lane of, youth development and mentorship and coaching of youth, and so every kind of step of the way, my path just veered back into a youth development kind of phase,
Wow. So where my mind went to, right, when you're talking, I was like, wow, that's where did I have something like that in my life, right? So and there are many examples. So I'll just kind of bring it down to one. And it was when I got to the University of Arkansas to run track, and I had a fantastic the graduate assistant coach, Stanley Redwine, who now coaches for KU. He's going to be the Olympic coach this year. Just an incredible human being, right? Yeah. However, Stanley, they had on the whole mindset of the Razorback team was, we're not the most talented bunch of people, but we will never yield. We will never quit. We will, right. if the John McDonald most winningest coach in any sport, NCAA, he won 42 national championships with the Razorback track and field team. Said if the jersey is not in front of you, is not red, pass them. right?
Right, right.
That was our go mission. And it's where I kind of crafted this term, for me. I started putting this in. What is the never yield mentality of that Razorbacks fight song? We'll never yield.
Right.
For me, it's +1 days. And +1 days are days you will do something that your competitor will not do, so that you always distance yourself a little bit from them. So you get the mindset over them, but you also have the mind sight beyond them.
Right.
You're always seeing beyond where your competitor is. I will always be the last one on the court. I'll always be the first one on the court. And so we had what was called Dead Man Fridays, which was we would single leg bound to the 50-yard line on one leg. So then we switch legs and single leg bound to the opposite side. And they're counting. The coaches are counting how many hops you take, and you're trying to outdistance the person. So it's not like these little hops, hop. You're trying to really bound and get yourself going. And then when you finish that, up the stadiums you go, run up the stadium, down the stadium, and you come back. You're zigzagging back across the field, and then we do these kind of L's, these quick little L things. And they're timing that with push-ups and sit-ups and cranking. This is the first part of the and then you rinse, repeat 4 times. And so by the end, you're just shaking. The legs, you're gone. I can't even walk back up to the chow hall to get food because my legs are just dying. But that weeded out a lot of the people that just want to walk on the team,
right?
Because they were just not going to put up with that that level of intensity. Yeah. How do you train somebody, their mindset to go to a mind site in the Boys and Girls Club that they were just like you. They can't see that next level, but you see it for them.
Right. So I think it's a little bit twofold, right? I think for me it's adapting my kind of expectation, so to speak. When I say that, I know my motor, right? I think it's looking at and empowering other people to realize their motor, right? And see the ladder. So oftentimes it's, we have this Youth of the Year competition, which, Youth of the Year is the highest honor a club team can get in the club and receive. And at the beginning of the journey, it looks like a big mountain to climb, right? And it is, because, you're asking these young people to, hey, I need you to go out and find a community leader to give you a letter of recommendation. I need you to find a club staff and club professional to give you a letter of recommendation. I need you to memorize a 3-minute speech, which you have to write from your original thoughts. Then it's like, I need you to give me 3 essays, one about your overcoming obstacles, one about your vision for club youth, and one about something you're passionate about. And at the beginning of that process, you have a bunch of young people who are deer in the headlights, so to speak, right? And they don't see how they can bring all this together in a matter of, a couple months, but then you remind them about the work they've already done and the work that's to come. And then, the celebration that's thereafter, right? And so it's looking at the ladder. So for me, I call it, like you call it, your +1 days. I call it my treadmill day, right? And I often tell this story to the kids. Will Smith said it, right? He said he's never he was never the most talented actor. There was actors that were just way up here, and he came in right here. He said, but what tipped the scale and made it to where he could excel was the fact that while they were sleeping, he was working. While they went to go eat, he would just keep working. And so I'm often reminded that he says a quote in the speech he gives. He says, if you ever see him in the gym and you get on the treadmill next to him, there's only 2 outcomes. It's you're getting off first, or he's going to die on that treadmill. And it's just that simple. And so for me, I often have to remind our young people, and my peers, my staff, coworkers, like, hey, treadmill mentality, right? They're going to get off first. Otherwise, we got to, succumb to this treadmill, right? And just that motor.
Yes. I like that. So I put that up there, the treadmill theory +1 day theory. I think that's, is exactly right. And I was going to ask people that if you're out there right now, you're listening to this show. I want to say, how can I wanted to put that into there it goes. I want to scroll it. Boop. There we go. Boop. Treadmill theory +1 day theory. I think that's right. Unless he's got something to do, right? I got to shoot. I got to go.
Right.
So doggone it. I got to go. See you later. Yeah. But yeah, I'm just gonna there was a person that told me, and I was doing what was I doing? Oh, we were shooting archery, right? We were at the Olympic Training Center in California, and we had a group of senior executives from a company. And what we do is we would, shoot, do one of the Paralympic or Olympic activities.
Right.
We'd have the high level performance coach explain what's going on. We'd have young people as well explain how to do the sport to these senior level executives, and then we do a debrief on what they learned from it, so they could apply some of the lessons. Fantastic! Right. It's really good. But anyway, one of the executives said, "Why don't you come shoot with us, John, on the line?" I said, "Oh, okay, no problem." So I got my bow and I got my arrow, and the one of the facilitators said, he says, "Every time they do that to you, you go into a different zone." Yeah. it's like they just enter the kill zone, right? So and it's just a dialed in focus. I go from laughing and everything and just and everything just goes away. All the stuff comes back, and I focus in on that. For you, how do you put yourself into that mindset in order to be the success that you are?
I often think back to this. When I was in high school and I was at the state championship high jump event at Jeffco Stadium, right? I was having an off day. And my coach, Coach Moon, Coach Griff, I love him. He pulled me to the side and he said, "Maurice," he said, "I can tell you're off." And he said, "But you've done the work." And he reminded me of like all the days that we were up on Sunday morning doing work, Saturday morning doing work, Saturday evening, "Hey, coach, I need one more jump." And I was down to my last jump. I missed this jump, and all the undefeated season goes away, and it doesn't mean anything. And in that moment, it was just like I knew I was going to make it. Mm-hmm. I'd already done the work, right? And so I think it's that mentality for me. I want to make sure I over prepare so I don't underperform. And I want, whether it's our young people at the Boys and Girls Club to have that same mentality, right? We talked about motor earlier. And so, I don't expect everybody to have the same motor, but if we can all have the same mindset, like you talk about, and know that like, hey, we've already done the work. We've already done the preparation. So when it meets application and practice, done.
So, you all out there, you're having this great conversation. This is a great conversation. So what have you learned from Maurice right now? I want you to put that in the chat box, put that out to your network, put that out. What's the one thing you're taking away from it right now? I want to go back. I want to talk about Frankie. Yeah. Frankie is a wonderful young person.
Agreed.
And just rocked it the other night with her 3-minute presentation. Talk a little about Frankie and where you think she's going to and her growth in the club.
Yeah. So, Frankie is our Youth of the Year, a grand champion of youth for the Pikes Peak Region Boys and Girls Club this year. And, she's gone through that process. She kind of climbed that mountain, so to speak. I think her potential is just limitless, right? She says she wants to go into being an orthodontist or a makeup special effect artist for in Hollywood or something like that, right? But her story is so unique. If you want to check that out, you can go to Boys and Girls Club of the Pikes Peak Region. I believe it's up on our Facebook page or our website under Youth of the Year. You can see her speech and hear that story, right? We talk about like motors and overcoming obstacles, right? Every step of the way from the first time I met this, young lady and this youth, her motor just was geared towards my surroundings and my present day circumstance is not going to determine the ladder in the future.
Wow.
And I mean, she just like, you heard her speech the other night. It transcending, right? It takes you to a different place and it just puts a different perspective on it. So, but you see that zone you talk about, right? That we all want to get into, that 40,000 foot level. To see a young person like Frankie get in that rarefied air at such a young age and really have that determination to climb and just to ascend.
Yeah.
It's motivation in itself.
Yeah, she really. So I'm one of those individuals. I'm looking around because I want to find my little card. I have those cards that they have, the um um strength finders cards.
Yeah, yeah.
So, so I always have mine with me. And I don't know what I do with it. It's got to be around here somewhere because it's never too far from me.
Yeah.
And so I'm what do you call a developer? I'm a woo, winning others over and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So when I see someone like Frankie, I latch on because she just blows the potential. I just see it right and for her, and I wanted to see it so much in herself, and that's just how I'm wired right for that. So so your sister's talking me off the ledge, on it. But you see so many children that are just like that all over, but they don't get the opportunity. They just don't get the opportunity to shine, and they don't see beyond the block or the city, the community that they live in. So how are you helping them to kind of open up that aperture? And before you do, we have some amazing comments that are going on. So think about that. So Shonda says, love the concept of over preparing so you don't underperform. That was brilliant. Absolutely. Thanks for picking up on that, Shonda. And then Patrice goes on, I'm always learning from Maurice. This conversation is so powerful. Recognizing you have done the work is key. Love that. And then Shonda back again. In the building, is in the building. That's funny. I'm loving this conversation as well. So we're gonna jump into before we kind of close this thing up. I want to get into your vision for the club, but before we get into that, I got this JR's rapid fire 5, and so we're gonna hit these 5 questions, and we're gonna change the aperture of our little buzz there. So we're gonna go. We're in it now. We're in it. So we're got to come close. All right. So these are just 5 easy questions you can do. There's no thing to it. You're just gonna answer these 5 questions. Okay. Who do you quote the most when you talk, and what is the quote?
I can't think of the author. I probably quote Will Smith a lot, but one quote sticks out to me: "Those who plant seeds, knowing that they will never sit. Those who plant trees, knowing that they will never sit in the shade of those trees, has truly started to figure out life." Love that quote. Love it.
I love that. That's awesome. Okay, we just got the word from the CDC. Will you still wear a mask or not wear a mask when you got the double vaccination?
If I'm flying, yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, the first place you want to visit with your mask off?
Redondo Beach, California.
Redondo Beach, loving it. Got to see the surfers out there. What is your favorite movie munchie candy?
Sour Patch.
Really?
Sour Patch, yeah.
I just wish people would be quiet about what?
Quiet about, I'm going to say workplace gossip. Be quiet.
Okay. I like that. All right. So those are the 5. I appreciate you putting those in. You've got 5 for me. I'll go on them right now.
I got you right now.
Okay.
Bulls of the 90s or Lakers of the 2000s?
Bulls 90s.
Bulls 90s. Thank you. Okay.
That's not even a question.
Favorite vacation spot, destination?
Probably either Oahu or Maui.
Solid. Will you be wearing a mask?
Yes.
Awesome. Last one I can think of. Do you prefer the Winter or Summer Olympics?
That's
Or
I have more memories about the Summer Olympics.
Right.
I respect both because of the amount of talent it takes to do it. So I would say, and when people ask favorite Olympics, it's not even mine, right? It's 68, Tommy Smith, John Carlos, Lee Evans. I mean, Charlie Green, high jumper, Fosbury, Dick Fosbury.
Yep.
I mean, what a team that just shifted the dynamic of the. Love 68 Olympics. That's my favorite.
Awesome.
All right. Okay. So everybody, we're just about to wrap this conversation up. If you have any questions for Maurice, please type them in right now. We're going to get ready to wrap this show up. But I wanted to go back one point to vision. Because I think it's important, and you're sitting over there now, in the directorship of the club and kind of the outreach area. So what is the vision? What do you see the club being 10 years from now?
So I think that's a great question. One thing I will say this: we have 130 plus year lineage. I want to see that carry on for another 130 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
The vision I see is this. I think too often times organizations, businesses, whether Fortune 100, 500, nonprofit, private sector, whatever, can often tell you too many times what it is they do. Mm-hmm. They can tell you how they do it, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But where the miss is the why. And I think the why is where you get your buy-in, your commitment. And so my vision in the next 10 years is that our why is just saturated in the community, in the Pikes Peak region, throughout Colorado. And, that would be it, is the why. The reason we do this is because of those kids like Richard down in Pueblo, these young people like Frankie in the Pikes Peak region. And the list just goes on. The reason we do this is the why is this, right? We hear the term like at-risk youth, underprivileged, underserved, right? In 10 years from now, I would love everybody to adapt the kind of moniker that every child, no matter socioeconomic background, race, color, anything, every child is at risk, right? Every child between the hours of 3 and 6 p.m. every day who does not have a Boys and Girls Club to go to, who is, not having strong mentors, not having, good, solid, pro-social, peer-to-peer relationships and interactions, is at risk. And the sooner I think we all can adapt to that and all buy into that, the more we can, look at, and be that catch-all for youth coming up. So in 10 years, just really adapting that mentality that every youth is at risk, and we all need to come together to be that catch-all to ensure that like our young people and the next generation coming up behind us have the resources and are in a better position than we were.
Yeah, Richard was, he was riffing off that a little bit as well, and says mentoring is about showing what is behind the curtain, mm-hmm. and then showing that it's just a curtain holding the back. Just make it so. And when we need people to do that, there needs to be somebody behind the curtain that actually opens the curtain up and lifts the curtain up so you can see it. Just if you don't know it's there, right? Yeah. Then you just don't know it's there. You walk right by it every day, and you don't know it's even behind it because you don't even look. So that's opening up that aperture for individuals. I love this conversation we've been having. I can talk to you all day. I really appreciate you being on. Are there any ways that people can get in contact either with yourself or the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Pikes Peak region? This is a national show, so they may have clubs that around their own area. How do they get involved?
If they want to get involved, search your local Boys and Girls Club in your region, your city, your area. If you want to know more about the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Pikes Peak region, you can go to our website. It's www.bgcppr.org. I can be reached at, my email would be the quickest way to reach me. It's mhenson. That's MHENSON, and it's at bgcppr.org. I would love to network and connect, talk leadership, talk youth development, and just push young people forward for sure.
Maurice Henson, ladies and gentlemen, what a show. Thank you so much for being on. We really appreciate you for saying yes. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. Everybody give applause in there. Chat him up in the box. I want to see it. I want to see you push him out there today because he's done such a fantastic job. Listen, we're just going to get ready to close this one out for this time in the can on May the 13th. We have Armed Forces the whole week coming up, I think, is next week. So make sure you're out there thanking the veteran population. We have some things that are going to be out. I think I have a video that just came out on LinkedIn today from Roberts and Ryan. I do some on their board of directors, the investment company, and they are just fantastic about giving back from the deals that they do. And then we have, I'm on, I guess, the radio show, KPPF. the tactical advantage. Could you believe that? So I will be on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. And that turns into a podcast as well. So we're going to link that podcast. Hey, Cheryl, thank you so much. Yeah, you got to listen to it. Listen to the podcast. So Cheryl says, awesome. And then Patrice says, another great conversation with two dynamic leaders. And man, thank you, Patrice. Amazing show, says Shonda. Thank you, Shonda, for that. I really appreciate everybody listening in. And please, if you know somebody that needs to hear shows like this, always positive, always pushing great content in the community, please have them sign up, hit the notification button so they're always alerted. So we have that going on. I'm on Instagram Live every day. We're just trying to do that. I have Rico Roman, I think I'm going to get on the show either today or tomorrow. He's one of our sled hockey players, combat veteran, and grew out of one of the programs I created in here in Colorado Springs. He's a fantastic individual. And then we're all over the news right now. So we're posting those clips on LinkedIn and in the YouTube area as well. So make sure you're checking that out. The book, 10 Power Stories to Impacting the Leader, Journey Your Way to Leadership Success, is out on Kindle. So make sure you're getting that as well. And join our Facebook group at, facebook.com/groups/amputate fear. I told you I already bought the web domains on all those things. Championship Mind Site. I love it. And all the other ones that go along with it. So we are not going to have a show next week because I have back-to-back presentations, and I won't be in a place where I think I can get stable connection. So no show next week. We're going to skip a week and we'll come back with the show after that. So please be looking out and watch out for others as well. And remember my two favorite quotes. First one by Anais Nin. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. That's Anais Nin. And then when truth outweighs fear, we commit to a courageous life. And that's by myself. So you are the inspirations. You are the catalyst to motivation. Motivation turns into action. Actions turn into transformational results. And those results, they re-inspire us or allow other people that are watching the process to catch the vision. See you back here next week. Go forth and inspire your world. Or not next week, the week after next. Go forth and inspire your world. My name is John Register. Bye for now. And Diana's going to come on the replay. Okay. Thanks, Diana.